Good evening. It is Tuesday, January 27. This is the monthly meeting of the Durham Parks and Recreation Committee. We'll start by first going around and each stating our name. Start with on this side.
Al Howland.
Joe Friedman.
Rachel Gazowski.
Kathy Leach.
Tracy Schrader.
Matt Swiss.
Linda Kuhn.
Okay, thank you all. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes. Do I have a motion to approve? All right, agenda. Approve the agenda.
Moved for whatever it was.
Okay, good.
Second.
Al just moved it. Okay. All right, you got the second?
Yep.
Okay, so quick discussion point. I had sent you all the link to the Jackson's Landing accessibility plan. I didn't add that as an agenda item, but I thought that if people had questions or comments, we could talk about that during business in the Trails subgroup update. Is that okay with everyone? Okay, all right. Anything else on the agenda? Okay. We can, all those in favor of approving the agenda say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now we'll go to the approval of the minutes. This is approving the minutes of December 16, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion on the minutes. Joe gave me a couple quick changes. It was just taking a Y off to make it the. And then I had a couple other things on page 3 under the ARC recommendations. Last sentence, just adding the word year. So it's 1 to 3 year plan. And then on page 1, under roundtable, the last bullet, where Rachel mentioned the accessibility study, the second to last. So Rachel met with Northeast Passage to see how maneuverable the playground and trail at Jackson Landing. So I just added playground and trails are at Jackson's Landing. Now, those were my only suggestions. Any other suggestions or changes to the minutes? Everyone okay with those minimal changes? Okay, so we can vote on, as amended, the approval of the minutes from December 16, 2025. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next up is public comments. There is no one here, and we've been told there is no one on Zoom. So we can skip to that and go to the roundtable. This is an opportunity for anyone to bring up anything they would like to bring up here that we won't be discussing later in the meeting. Does anyone have anything for the roundtable?
Don't jump out first, people.
Okay, I guess we're good then. Okay, moving along. The next item is the update from the Parks and Recreation Director and upcoming events. So Rachel?
Sure, I'll start with upcoming events. We have the Sweetheart Skate, which will take place at Churchill Rink on Valentine's Day itself,
Nice.
February 14th, 3:30 to 5 p.m. So we do a registration for that, but we also have like a little spread of food, Be Mine goodie bags. Bill does the whole lights stuff for us. So yeah, it's a fun little event. And last year we had about 70 people come out for it. So we're hopeful for another good turnout. And I think we might set up the igloo again.
Oh, that's
On
a
the
good idea.
ice.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have the Slush Cup Pond Hockey Tournament, which will be on Sunday, March 15th this year. That's an all-day event. We've been doing it on, last year we did it on a Sunday, and this year we'll do it on a Sunday as the state championships for high school hockey fall on the 14th. So we're hopeful that both the boys and the girls teams will wind up there.
Long road.
Okay, well, the girls are hopeful.
The girls probably have a better chance on TV. Okay.
And then we have the on April 4th, which is a Saturday, the day before Easter, and that will be at 9:30 in the morning. Once again, we have the Hamill Scholars from UNH that are assisting with the event, so we're very grateful for their partnership. to
Is
do
that
so.
at the high school?
It'll
field
be at the
again?
high school turf again.
Okay.
Yep. And then our Gunstock ski program feels like it flew by, which I guess the month of January definitely did. But it ends tomorrow for us, so tomorrow's our final lesson.
Wow.
We had 59 kids take advantage of the lessons, another 80-something that did the pass-only option, but they allow us 65 spots for the lessons, and we had 59 kids register for that.
Hey, Rachel, does that pass go for the whole season for them?
Yep, so they can use it for the 4 lessons, but it's valid as soon as the mountain opens to when it closes. And it comes with, like, depending on when you purchase the pass through the outreach program, there's 2 dates, but it comes with, like, the earlier you purchase it, like when we open it, comes with like 50% off tickets, or 4 you so it's like a really great deal.
Super great deal.
Yeah, and we have a lot of the high school kids who take advantage of the pass only option and use it for like the ski team or just to have, so that's been it's been another great program. One of the challenges that like every 2 years it seems like their coordinator at Gunstocks swaps out, so it's kind of dealing with someone new program, so which we are this year. And there's been a few little like, bumps in the road, but from our end of things, it's pretty smooth. And they've actually adopted a lot of like things that we set up, just, I don't know, with the organization of our groups and how we track attendance and all of that. So it's streamlined over the last couple of years. But yeah, it's been a great program. And
Do you know if Gunstock has, I heard they have significant discounts for seniors. Do you know anything about that?
70 is free.
That's what I heard.
70 is free. I somehow, my Gunstock pass, I'm 63, but I got like the bargain of the century this year with Gunstock, so it was $315 for my pass, but it had out dates and all weekends, which is pretty good.
yeah, they definitely start selling them early. So the earlier, once they roll out, the next year's passes, the earlier you purchase it, the better the deal is. The outreach program's a little different. The passes are significantly discounted off even the early bird rates, but it's only valid for ages 8 through 18.
I
Unfortunately.
mean, the midweek pass, my take on that for older adults, it is so great because you go up there, you can ski for like 2 hours, say, okay, that's good, I've had my day, and come home. And I think, to your point, it's great for all ages, that pass.
Yeah, it is. It's great. So we're really happy with that partnership and look to continue that on moving forward. After school programs, we have, the standard Seven Rivers after school program that's going well. But we have another round of our after school program that's in partnership with the Wheelhouse in Portsmouth. And then a new middle school program, well, not entirely new, bringing it back a little bit from years ago, is the Climbing Club middle school program, and that's in partnership with UNH at their climbing wall at New Hampshire Hall. So that's starting up here in February. Our after-school cross-country ski program, that's in partnership with Seven Rivers. This will be the first time, I think, ever that they've had the conditions that they have. Usually we have to like kind of cancel it, or not cancel it, but like modify the program. So, or if they do get on snow, it's like not great. So they are going to have just like outstanding conditions. That program starts this week to run that. So that's great. And then,
Too deep.
what's that? Yeah, it might be. You're right.
Emma said she tried to ski today and she had to turn back.
That's true.
Thinking,
I didn't even think of that. Well, hopefully it compresses a little bit
Yeah.
between now and Thursday.
Heavier people out first.
Right.
Forge the trail.
Yeah, exactly. We've been doing a after-school science program for a couple of years. We have 3 different sessions throughout the school year, and we also run a summer camp with them. And we did a fall session, and we were getting ready to start our winter session, like, I guess, beginning of January. And I got a call from, actually, I think it was not even a call, it was an email, that they are going out of business.
No, no.
And so they basically were canceling all sessions and opportunities moving forward. So with like 3 days' notice
Oh, boy.
from when our program was supposed to start, we had to make we had to finagle a bunch of stuff. But we have a great working relationship with the instructor for that program, who actually lives locally. And she's like just fantastic. She runs all the after-school stuff for us with the Mad Science, and then she also runs the summer camp, so we know her quite well. Anyways, I sent her a message and asked if she wanted to basically become Park and Rec staff and continue to run the program, just not under the Mad Science name. She can design it. She's a teacher, former teacher. So she agreed to do that, so we were able to kind of pivot really quickly.
Wow.
Hire her, put her on staff, and I think she's having a great time because she's really able to be creative, and it's not this like cookie cutter,
Yeah.
like have to follow XYZ kind of thing. So she's, this will be her 4th class coming up, and she's just done some really great stuff with the kids. And I'm glad we didn't have to cancel because we basically had a full roster of kids in the class. But with that said, we lost summer camp that we have been filling each year with 20 kids. So, definitely a little bit of a bummer for us, and one of the challenges that we face with revenue, where sometimes some of those things are unpredictable. That really impacts losing those two things really impacts us. But again, with the after school stuff, we were able to make that change. And with the camp program that we lost, we were actually able to quickly replace that with another similar science style program through what's called Wicked Cool for Kids. So I think we'll be okay.
Do you think, Rachel, I mean, just as a silver lining, having that person come in and be kind of in-house Parks and Rec, does that hopefully give you a little bit more stability in the future with the programming?
Yeah, I think she's really excited for the opportunity, and we talked about her coming in like once a week during the Reach camps and having some interactive programming. Yeah, I think it's a good change. I'm glad it worked out. Otherwise, it would have been definitely tough to have lost that. So. And then summer camp planning is well underway at this point. We have put an email out to all of our staff from last summer, inviting them back. And I want to say we have 12 that have already responded that they'll be back. So we're off to a good start there. They have, I think till the end of this week, I gave them to let me know if they are coming back or if they needed a little more time to decide. So once we know the status, we will start hiring or putting information out, here at the beginning to mid-February, and start the hiring process there. Camp registration is scheduled to open on February 18th at 7 a.m.
Wow.
And the registration will be done through our Durham Parks and Rec website. And that will include registration for morning Reach camps, afternoon Reach camps, and the camps that we do outside of
Did you say 7 a.m.?
7 a.m. Better be on. They fill up quick. We are doing some new camps this summer. So in the past, we have partnered with, they're called Let Go Your Mind, and we typically partner with them the first 2 weeks that school lets out. But with last year, the change of Reach running for 5 weeks versus 4, it kind of bumped them out of one of the weeks. And so this year they decided that the week that we could host them, their teachers are still in school, so they're not able to be here. Okay, it gave us kind of a chance to offer some new things. So we are, for that week that the kids get out, June 22nd through the 26th, we have 2 opportunities. Both are new. One is going to be a preschool age Nature Explorers half-day camp. So we're going to give that a whirl and see.
Nature?
Nature.
Nature. I was like, that can't be right.
Nature Explorers.
Okay.
And a half-day camp option there. And then The other new camp that we're offering that week, which I'm really excited about, is we're calling it Thrillville Field Trip Camp Week. So every day the kids will go on some sort of like thrilling, adventure-y style
That's great.
trip. So Canopy Lake Park, Funtown, Splashtown USA. We have them going to the Apex Center in Marlboro. What else did we come up with? They're going to zip line at Take Flight. They're really great to work with. So they're going to take 22 kids zip lining.
Sounds great.
Yeah, so we're excited for Thrillville camp. And then the other new camps, again with the Mad Science Camp going out, we brought in the group Wicked Cool for Kids, and they're going to offer Hogwarts STEM Express and Design and Build Workshop in that week of August 10th. And then other than that, we still have the Reach, 5 weeks of the Reach camps with 5 Friday field trips, our outdoor adventure camp, surf camp, adventure paddle camp. And then the last thing I'll say is that Kelly and I got the opportunity to attend the Northern New England Recreation and Park Conference the first week of, I guess it was the second week of January. And it was great. There's departments from Maine, New Hampshire, Mass, and Vermont that all attended, and the sessions were really great this year. It was fun to go and be part of all that and see some old faces from all the other departments.
Great.
And that's it.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments or anything for Rachel?
I just want to clarify, you said Wheelhouse Pottery?
Yeah, the Wheelhouse is the place that we bring them to.
Okay. Okay.
Well, just as usual, sounds like you got a lot going on, so thank you very much.
Yeah, it's been a
You
busy
and your
start to
staff.
the year.
Yeah, but it sounds like you are good at moving, if you need to change, and figuring out what to do if something else needs to be done,
Yeah,
so
we
we appreciate that.
gotta think quick, I guess. sometimes.
Yeah, I know. All right, any questions or comments for Rachel? Okay, thank you. So next item, into the business part of our meeting. I know that the kind of trails subgroup has had things that they've been working on, so just wanted to see if that group wanted to give an update. Erin was unable to make it today, so I think it kind of falls to Rachel and Linda at this point, so if either of you want to start in on that.
Yeah, I'll give the update, but then Linda, I think, is gonna talk about the Rec Ready New Hampshire that Joe brought up last year and kind of the research that she's done that I think will help us in some of these trail initiatives.
Okay.
So yeah, myself, Linda, and Erin, we met with Veronique last week, and we just kind of chatted about mainly the Jackson's Landing property and kind of clarified a few things about, the volunteer group that she has organized over the years, or the list of volunteers. They would very much be part of any trail work that would take place at Jackson's Landing. The vision is that we would all work together to make change park. One of the goals for and it would be a little bit of a phased approach, would be to make some of the trails at Jackson's Landing more accessible. A lot of that has to do with just a little bit of regrading of things. But then also there's some areas that there's random benches that look at kind of nothing. We could turn them and then we talked about making some just better picnic areas. And that also with Riverwoods is going through another expansion, and apparently they're losing their network of trails that they've designed, which there's quite a few of them behind the building there. So we talked about making sure that they're aware that we're doing some of these projects and involving them, and maybe they would even help fund some of this as well. But Veronique had another follow-up conversation from our meeting, and sounded like they were very excited for the opportunity that there would be some improved trails and opportunities at Jackson's Landing for folks to come down and be by the water. There's a trail, it's a small little loop trail, but it's on the other side of the rink, same side of the road. And so we had walked that with that accessibility group and just looked at areas that we could make that more accessible as well. So that project would involve trails, not just there at the playground and down by the water, but the trail just on the other side of the rink as well.
If I remember correctly, isn't that trail across the street a little bit of a hill?
Yes, so
Yeah.
this would be not that trail
Oh, not that one, okay.
for the accessibility side of
Yeah,
things.
okay.
But we all agree that that one could use some love as well. So Veronique was going to, I guess Carolyn Singer had passed on a grant opportunity, AARP, that deals with trails. So she was actively looking and she's going to go to like a webinar on that, I believe, coming right up. So she's going to have a little bit more information for us, but it sounds like an opportunity grant-wise to bring in some money to help us do some of this stuff. And then from a recreation side of things, we're going to kind of help put together the inventory of things we'd like to see down there, improvements or additions,
Yep.
and start to, price some of that stuff out. And then figure out from there who's going to do the work and how it's going to get paid, whether it's through the grants or
Right.
or whatnot. So as part of that discussion, an hour, like a day before, regarding the Ready Rec New Hampshire, that again Joe had spoke about last week, and it was a presentation with Mike Ferguson from UNH and some other representatives from the state who have put together this guide, and it's really fantastic. So if you have a moment, I know Kathy had sent it out to us, but definitely go check out Rec Ready New Hampshire. And sorry, I think I said that wrong the first time around. So Rec Ready New Hampshire, and it's there's a bunch of modules of whether you're developing a park or you need funding for this. I mean, there's something
That's great.
for each kind of topic there. It's a really great guide. So
So I had just sent you all the link, I think. I don't think I sent you the actual guide.
I think if you I just typed in
Yeah.
Rec Ready.
Yeah, okay. And then can you just, so that everyone knows, can you just say who Veronique is and what she
Yeah,
does
Veronique is our land stewardship coordinator
for the town?
for the town.
Okay.
Yeah, she's great to work with. So as also part of that Rec Ready guide, and one of the discussed at that webinar was the Rec Trails
Yeah.
New Hampshire.
New
So-
Hampshire State Parks.
Yeah, it's another grant opportunity. I asked Linda and Aaron if they would kind of help look into some of those, and I'll let you take it away now because Linda did quite the dig on all of this.
So I know Erin took the New Hampshire State Parks piece of it to look at what grants might be available there. And I went on the Rec Ready New Hampshire website, and it's just a wealth of information. So one of the modules does talk about funding for projects, and it's quite expansive. That one module had maybe 7 different tabs based on different topics or areas, whether it was transportation or housing or trails or economics, I mean, just everything. So I went through all of it, and I was getting a little disappointed because the majority of the grants that are out there are for nonprofit organizations. But I drilled down every single tab, and I came up with a list of about 12 grants that did not mention nonprofits only. So I started digging into those. I only got about a third of the way through, trying to dig deeper into each one of them to see, are they worth looking at? Are they available? And once I have that more detailed information, then I can share it with Rachel and Veronique, and we can maybe try to figure out, oh yeah, this one might be applicable. Like some of them, well, the AARP one I know Veronique is looking at. But like, for example, Lincoln Financial Group offers grants to towns and communities. The New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, Economic Development Grants. That one I'm still looking at a little more closely because it says for rural areas, and I'm looking to see if they define rural areas. But the Trek Foundation, the REI offers grants. Athletic Brewing Company offers grants for trails for communities. So just doing a little deeper dive on that just to see if we might qualify to apply for any of these.
Are we not nonprofit?
I think we buy
I
as
think we may be
nonprofit.
nonprofit.
I think we do.
Do you guys know?
I asked Veronique and she thought
I
we didn't.
don't know. I
have to
no
ask
idea.
Chad.
I'm municipal
And-
person. I don't know how that works.
They'll let us know.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think.
If
I mean, we're
we
not
do,
making
then
any money. I mean,
But, well, Veronique's explanation was, the reason she thought we didn't qualify as a nonprofit was because grants are applied for under the town of Durham.
Yes, I agree.
So the
You're
town of
under a
Durham is not a
municipality.
department of the town of Durham.
so the town is not a nonprofit
Correct.
entity.
You have to have a 503 or
A 501
501.
C, 501c6.
How about like the conservation, like what about the historic, are they a 501c3?
Historic Association probably is, but they're not a town entity.
I know, I'm just trying to think of some nonprofit you can lump onto.
Oh, that might,
That's in the
partner.
town that you
Yeah.
could utilize, that could qualify for the grant, and then
Okay.
they could apply it there. I mean, so there could be some town nonprofit, they could apply, as I say, they could apply for it and then use it on this, maybe? It's worth
Alright.
it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying we have to do that. I was just wondering.
Yeah,
I just think it's worth a shot. Why
Yeah.
not? Why not?
According to AI, it says that
Yeah, I can.
a town is a 501c government entity, which would be considered a nonprofit.
Yeah, I feel like when I've filled in other things, like we've kind of been considered under that nonprofit.
You can ask Gail.
Yeah.
Okay.
well, that would open up, and I'm happy to keep digging.
Thank you for doing
on
all
those.
that.
And then, oops, sorry, go ahead.
Go on.
No, because I was going to change.
I was just gonna say, and it does say sponsors like Friends of the Rec Department.
Oh.
Could
Or
be,
what? Could-
well,
no,
if you
that's
make it be a
right, yeah.
503c.
That's what I was
that would-
Yeah.
thinking. To get the flexibility of something, just in case the town didn't qualify, if you could have like some booster organization or anything like that you could funnel the money through to do it
Yeah.
Jackson's.
And actually, this might be a good segue for any kind of update, because I think you were working with Gail on getting that kind of fund set up. Yeah, is there any update on it?
No update,
No update, okay.
but it's on her radar. I think she was
Okay.
gonna think about, how I left it. She was going to think about, kind of the best avenue and chat with Deb on
Okay.
that.
So maybe bring this up to her as well as part of that, and see if
I'll
these
follow
kind of
up
grants
with-
could be funded through there. Okay,
Can
I
I
would
take a
consider,
little-
also, when you talk about rural, I've often wondered, because I don't think we're a city. We're too small to be,
HUD and those
A
designate
couple
stuff
of
like
these
that.
designate for rural areas, and so I've dug into those a little bit deeper, aside from reaching out to them directly yet,
yeah.
to see if what they define as rural.
Yeah,
So
would
the
they-
next step really would be for me to just contact them and say,
Yeah.
what's your definition?
I'm surprised they don't have that on there.
Yeah.
Would it be by population, or would it be by land? Would
Yeah.
it be,
Well, I was hoping it would say something like that.
Yeah,
On
right.
their website or in the application, but I'm still plugging away at it, so.
well, thank you for
yeah,
doing that.
yeah.
And
And-
Al, did you just say that HUD may have a listing of what's?
Yeah,
So
a
maybe
lot,
these,
HUD does I mean, in our area, I don't think we qualify, but don't, I mean, definitely like Farmington and New Durham in Stratford County, because when we were talking about the Rural Health Initiative, they would be there, but I don't know about us.
okay.
It says because of UNH being here, we are not considered rural.
Yeah.
Oh,
We have
Oh,
too many
really?
people.
because we have too many. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, and then can I take a little right turn?
Yes, of course.
Linked to that meeting, one of the things at Jackson's that also came up on the list, not just the trails, but we talked about signs and kiosks. And so I also attended Veronique's meeting on Monday about signs and kiosks overall with the trails. And so that subcommittee came up with a list of where they felt kiosks are needed most, knowing that there's additional signage that's needed at many places, because apparently they have 3 smaller kiosks right now. So they're considering Milne or
The
east-
Milne property?
Yes,
Yeah.
the east end of Long Marsh, and then maybe the Kenny Routner Bridge, or the
Yeah.
Oyster River Road Park.
So
I
right
don't know where
now,
all of them are around someday, now that I
The
can drive
mill is
again.
right over there. When you
Okay,
go, I mean, just go out here and go down towards downtown, it's on the left-hand side. And then actually, if you just keep going straight into Faculty neighborhood, you'll run into Kenny's Bridge.
that's what they were saying, Faculty Neighborhood.
It's off Thompson Road at the end of Thompson Road.
Yeah, it's the end of Thompson
And then they
Road.
were also identifying where they think the priorities would be for larger kiosks, such as updating the one at Doe Farm, Thompson, because that sign and the map needs updating, the west end of Long Marsh, Spruce Hill Bog, and of course Jackson's Landing, whole other discussion. And so Sarah had sent us a link to a Vermont is used that had a lot of information on signs and kiosks, as does the Rec Ready New Hampshire site. It has a whole tab on signage and kiosks and whatnot. And I know they're still looking at the Nature Conservancy layout. They like that.
so who's they? This is the Land
Uh,
Stewardship
the
Subcommittee?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
And so this is a subgroup of that?
yes.
Okay.
Looking just at kiosks and signs.
So for,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. So for Jackson's Landing, it sounds like it's on the group's radar as kind of a larger kiosk?
Because I think when we met with Veronique and Aaron and both of us, and we were talking about trail access and even benches and picnic tables, the kayak rack, and we had a few comments about signs. So Veronique's signs and kiosks, she included Jackson's in that.
Yeah,
Yeah, good.
there's a lot of signs there that just are really old and rough shape, have arrows that point to like really random things, so it was, or like that hill trail as well.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know it's there because there's no sign.
Right.
So, there's signs there, and then there's just a simple bulletin board.
So I did see in that accessibility study, you had to click a link in it, but it brought to a map that had, I think it was 12 points down there that has a kiosk, signs, whatever. And there is one rather big, you didn't call it kiosk, you just called it a bigger sign. That I guess is probably what they're talking about, that maybe could be updated into a kiosk.
Yeah, right now, we just have like a info bulletin board that we
Yeah.
put up flyers and things
Okay,
like that there.
okay.
So when you first drive into Jackson's Landing and you see the rink, there is a big
Right.
sign board there that, has various
the announcement
information.
things, okay.
This would be, this kiosk would fall in line with,
All-
basically, they're trying to have like a
Standardized.
uniform look towards all these kiosks.
But it might
that-
include something like a map of the area.
Yeah.
Right, a
or-
map, unique features,
Yeah,
do's and don'ts we talked about.
yeah. Yeah, good, okay. All right, thank you for all that, Linda. We'll talk a little bit about that again when we get to the strategic planning potentially. All right, I realized I should have done this order a little bit differently, but I typed it in as it came to my head, was doing the agenda. So we're gonna mix it up a little bit. So Rachel has some information about, in the beginning stages of talking about a parking fee type of structure at Wagon Hills. Did you want to say a little bit more about that?
Yep, so administrator had sent out an email that the town was exploring paid parking at Wagon Hill Farm for non-residents. And it would use the thought is that they would use the park mobile that's already in place here in town to have non-residents pay to park. And again, this is something that's been numerous times. And actually the Parks and Rec Committee, it was like when I first got started, Todd had asked us to look into this, and so we kind of came up with a program. At that time, it was putting in like an Iron Ranger.
What's that?
It's
Oh.
like one of, like you go to a
Like a fence?
like White Mountain National Forest, and
You
it's,
put your money in.
you
Yeah.
can put your money in,
Okay.
kind of thing. I forget the details of all the things that we came up with, but once we presented it, and it wasn't anything like you have to pay to park, it was mainly just a way to collect some money. It was like wildly,
It was awesome. It's like Durham, typical Durham,
Yeah.
charging other people to come to Wagon Hill.
Well, so I have a few questions. Like, first of all, how do you monitor it? Like, how do you know that anyone's doing it at all? And how do you know that an out-of-town person is doing it?
That was the issue that kind of sunk it.
Yeah.
It was unenforceable.
Yeah.
And then the fallback was like, okay, just asking for a donation kind of thing. I think the obvious one would be, if you did have like a kiosk or something up there, you would have to have parking enforcement from downtown periodically come up there. So I just, in terms of economic viability, the cost of the electronic thing and the enforcement.
is probably the most challenging to you'd really have to be up there, every hour?
In the morning, I'd assume you'd really, I think there's probably the busy dog walking time. So if that would be the time you'd probably want to enforce. But I think would you make enough revenue to offset the cost of what you're going to go through to do it?
Yeah.
And the public relations cost,
Right.
which I mentioned earlier, is...
We're Durham. We
Is
can
it
take
really... I guess I feel like as part of Parks and Recreation, we are encouraging use of things and use of being healthy. And so I don't know if that would be... first of all, my biggest thing is the enforcement and how do you know who's doing it. But then also, is that really something that the town should be thinking about from a healthy way? And I guess Al's right too. How do you even forecast what kind of money you'd actually make out of it based on that? And I assume the reason it's being brought up is to produce revenue, probably? Yeah, okay.
But there's no talk of expansion, right? Same number of spaces?
As far as I know, there is no talk, and this is really just at the discussion period. This isn't anything that town is actively moving.
So Todd
With
is
that
bringing
is-
it up to see if it would,
He was just keeping us in the loop that this was being discussed.
There's been chatter from people that have heard the plan, and it's mixed. Some are saying, yeah, charge the out-of-towners, and others are like,
Yeah, there
Or
were
from-
comments on the Facebook
right,
page.
right. Would you say mixed also, comments? Yeah. Some for it, some against it. Like you said, the cost to administer and to set it up, I can't
think it-
imagine it'd be.
How about the donation part though? I just think there's a bunch of people who walk their dogs there from all over the place. And I'm just wondering as a trial thing, if we can have especially, I think we provide some of those poop bags out there. And if you had a
the trash
donation,
pickup on-
if you had a donation saying like this is helping fund the trash bags and the pickup and the trail maintenance just to maintain your dog, and run a trial run and just see if we get anything, like one of those iron
They
boxes.
talked about, or if not that, there was some conversation about a QR code.
Yeah.
And, to have this this nonprofit set up, Friends of the Park, so that someone could actually donate specifically to that entity. Otherwise, it would just go into the town's coffers
Yeah.
and not be directed to parks, because they can't really do that.
Yeah, you'd have to set up, Gail would have to set up an account
Right.
at the town that they donated in, so it didn't just flood into, as he said, the general fund. But why not try it?
Well, we did it for the rink already, so we know it can be done in Durham.
Fun.
Set up an entity that could receive donations specifically for the rink in that case.
I want to say one of the things, and I can't remember if this was upstairs when we were talking to Todd and Gail, but when we were discussing this, setting up this fund for the parks, there was something about, when you make a donation, say we put up something and we want a new playground, here's what it's going to look like, donate, that every person who donates has to sign some.
Yeah,
letter.
it was
Oh,
not
boy.
easy. And there was something about, at first, having to be checks.
Oh,
But then I think
boy.
we got away from the checks, but there was something that everybody would have to sign something.
Is that only to
But I
get
don't know
their
if it
tax
could be
refund? I mean, if it's
digital.
wanting to give $20 and I don't care about my $20 going to my, like, to my donation or my taxes, like, is that only for like, I'm gonna give you enough money that I actually want?
No, I
to
think
write-
It
no
sounded
matter
like
what.
it was whatever, yeah, and that's
Yeah.
where we were kind of explaining what we were looking, how we were looking for
That's right, I
that
forgot
to
about
be
that.
used. And Gail was.
Do you remember that, Joe, from that meeting too, or something like that? There was definitely something that made it a little cumbersome.
Yeah, we kind of thought we had it figured out. We'll just set up this
Yeah.
fund. We can do we'll have a poster at the park that highlights
Yeah.
the project that we're working on. People can donate. It goes directly to that. But then it was like it got complicated.
Rachel can circle back on that, and you could maybe have some info for us at the next
Yeah,
meeting.
I will.
Okay.
I mean, I was
wrote
just
it.
thinking, like, you could, if we kick, I hate to add one more thing to your really busting plate of stuff, but it would be really fun in the spring to have a kickoff. Like, advertise, like, hey, bring your dog, and that's a kickoff to the donation of the Wagon Hill Fund. And I think, again, when I keep thinking about, like, oh, we're gonna have like a kiosk and you pay for parking, to Kathy's thing, that is a really negative,
Yeah.
But if you had like this cool kickoff at a dog park and it's something that people really like and want to use and can voluntarily donate, it would just be a lot better.
But does
Yeah.
it turn into multiple donations when the Historic Association wants to do something in the
Yeah.
barn and have their art shows and everything? So they're gonna have their own
I don't
group
know.
that some money donated goes to, those supposed displays that they may be working on?
Well,
Matt, do you want to?
I was just gonna say, this is kind of a little side note, and maybe Al might know. Isn't there a donation parking box at
Matt, you have to get the.
donation parking box at Mount Major?
right.
Yeah.
When
Yes.
you pull in
Yeah.
and
Yes.
they just say, please put money in here.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all it is. And I always
Yeah.
put money in there, and
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't
I
see why.
haven't hiked it in a while, so I couldn't remember if it was there or if it was somewhere else.
No, it's there. I hiked it 3 times this fall and put money in it every time. And that's what I'm thinking. And so what if, there's, the Historic Society? I think that that's a reasonable, if you put a sign explaining, we want to keep this for the dogs. We have to pay for this. We have, it costs a lot of money. If you want to keep this, please donate. And, if you appeal, you're not going to get everybody to do it, but
I thought
exactly.
Yeah.
I thought we had that already. I think I thought at Wagon Hill there was a iron box, but it is stuck way in a corner. Okay, that must be maybe where they get the poop bags or something. I was thinking.
And I
Okay,
think you have to settle the entity that will be receiving
Yeah.
the funds.
Right.
but I think that, like you said, if other groups up there, that could be helpful for them too. It could be.
Different QR codes depending on which
Well,
sign
it
they're
could
at.
just be one, right?
I would do
mean,
one.
Yeah, and then it could be for anything up at Wagon Hill. I know that might not.
Yeah,
If you do a
pie in the sky. but-
And if you do, to that point though, if you do a QR code, it could take you to at least the website and show these are the projects that are occurring at Wagon. And actually what you could do
Yeah,
is
your
you're really
donation
slick.
supports.
Or say you can donate to, which one do you want to donate to?
I would say we do both, do the box and the
So,
QR code.
so some coordination would be
Because a lot of people
required
don't
then
carry cash
between
anymore.
Parks
Or they
and
don't,
Rec
yeah.
and the so-called arts people that helped get the grant to remodel the place, and plus the people that do the gardening.
Yeah.
So each of them have their own entity, it seems like.
Yeah.
So if there's
I
just.
think the
their own
gardeners
interest in it.
were an issue in terms of this parking, was that a lot of the gardeners are from out of.
Yeah.
Spoke with one gentleman who just did a bunch of volunteer work for the Scouts. Veroni coordinated with him. They used our building this past weekend, and he lives in Newmarket, but he does a ton of volunteer work here for the town
Right.
in Durham, and he was really like, "You're gonna charge me to park at."
Yeah, well, that's a good case, right? Those are the
Yeah.
trade-offs that some people do that no one knows about.
Right.
So, yeah.
On the other hand, this is an aside, but when I go to visit my friend in St. Louis, and we'll go to the St. Louis Zoo, it's free, but you have to pay to park. And people grumble about it.
Totally.
Come on, sometimes, but I think it's better to put a voluntary thing and appeal to people's better judgment.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and we
but you're
just-
both right. You have to explain what it's there for.
Right.
Right? Yeah.
I wanted to put this out in case this gains some traction
Yeah.
and, you know, our committee is asked to weigh in on it. Gives us a little food for thought here as we potentially have to maybe
Yeah.
endorse something or not.
Yeah, I think the question needs to be answered, though, how they're thinking about even monitoring the whole thing. Yeah. But if we do more like what Al and Tracy are suggesting, then you wouldn't necessarily have to monitor it. You just, who's the person who goes up there and gets the money?
Collects
You
it,
know,
yeah.
So that might be less work, but it also may be less money coming in. I don't know.
But-
Okay.
But less money to pay for it too.
Right. All right, anything else on that? Thank you for bringing that up. It did look like in the administrator's email, he did say he's asked the police department to develop a new program concept around this idea.
Right.
So, I don't know, you might want to give them all the stuff you already did. But, all right. Next,
Remember that meeting though? It was.
I remember this,
We, like,
it got really bad.
It really
It's my-
did.
you know,
All along, I thought we
Yeah.
were doing our job, and
Yeah,
you just got.
it was great.
Um,
I like walked
Annihilated.
out with like a tail between my legs, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, okay, I'm out of here.
bye-bye. Okay.
I haven't brought up Wagon Hill Farm parking since.
Right, all right. Okay, next item is update on the meeting with the administrator and the business manager. So that was in early January. Joe, Rachel, and I were there. The reason we kind of asked for the meeting was based upon what we talked about in our maybe November and December meetings here, which is the budget situation being what it was during the budget cycle. What should committees like ours be doing? And is it worth our time to be doing things if it's really never going to get any better and we can put all these plans together, but anything that has a cost, we're not going to be able to do, blah, blah, blah. So that was kind of the start of it. And you guys can help me, but I think what the administrator said is he's being transparent and the budget is probably not going to be any better this year, moving into 2027, maybe slightly so. After that, there are some development projects that could potentially bring in more revenue. So I think he's thinking 27 going into 28 may start to look better. We brought up the idea of, maybe our committee spend the time between then working on kind of this 3-year we had talked about. And I think they all thought that would be a pretty good use of our time and a good idea. Understanding that, the funding for some of these things just may not be here right away.
And it was also that 28 are going to be challenging for the town because some bond payments
Oh, right.
have to start getting paid. So
Okay.
rather than looking 5 years out, it was like, why don't we look 1 day? Because 5 years out is just too murky to
Okay.
really know what's going on.
Okay.
So it would seem
And the
that-
Madberry, the upper,
Yes.
that comes into play at that time.
It does also. So
What does?
The upper Madberry Road, the
Oh,
completion of
okay.
that.
Yeah.
So what I heard was like the 1 to 3 years would be useful
Okay.
for us to pursue plans or ideas.
Okay.
Once we see how we go, how successful we are, to know how much further we can go.
Yeah. Okay.
I think actually, just as an outsider watching the budget, and I'm going to say too, like this is a wild year. I haven't, all budget news I've heard has been really bad. But I think the effort that you guys put, or us, that we put into the study and like kind of showing how the public really appreciated Parks and Rec was really, really, really a good idea going into
Was
this
important,
budget. Because
yeah.
it prevented, I think, from significant loss of programming. So I think that was a great start. In terms of going forward, yeah, it is pretty ugly in terms of fiscally looking at it, but I don't think that stops us from a 1 to 3 year plan.
Yeah, and that was the other thing we brought up was we didn't want to lose the momentum from that study. And we want to do the things that the community asked for, or, so, and everybody understands that. It's kind of one of those is what it is situations, but questions or comments? Anything else from that? The other part of the meeting was just seeing about setting up the fund, like Friends of Fund.
Right, yeah, I think that was kind of the big discussion there.
And what was their feelings about
There
that?
was no feeling about not doing it. I think it was in terms of figuring out how to do it,
I
right?
think they were leaning more towards like how the rink is set up, but then it started to get a little murky with, everyone needing to, like, say we put something out at Woodridge Park, like, donate to, and we had a beautiful picture of new courts or whatever it may be, then every person would potentially need to sign something.
Do whatever
as
that thing
well.
is, yeah.
So it became, maybe this isn't the
But
best option.
I want to clarify though, we weren't asking about a revolving fund. We were asking about, so the rink is more a revolving fund. We didn't bring that up in this meeting. We brought up more the kind of friends of donation accepting.
I'm
Fund.
still unclear as why you have to sign something.
We don't know.
We don't know. And we may not be 100% right. All I know is there was something that we thought the conversation was going to go, and then Gail thought of something that may need, probably because of state rules or something, but we don't remember exactly what it is. So Rachel will circle back on that.
Okay,
And maybe it's not all, but
so it was discussed, but no,
it was discussed in the business manager, Gail, is looking into it and working on it for
Okay.
us.
Plus, also discussed was play equipment and the replacement of that play equipment.
Yes.
Some of it is old and obsolete even, or even dangerous, which there seemed to be a feeling that I saw that we don't want to have unmaintained equipment out there, so we'll either or if we need to add, that would be some of what they'd be looking at us based on the report, what do we need to add and when.
Right.
And we did talk about, to that note, Primex, our insurance company, they have certified playground inspectors that will come in and, look at our playgrounds. But the concern is, once we have that report, then
Yeah.
we need to do something, we need to be ready to do something about it.
But they were agreeable that
They
we
were-
do it.
They were,
So I don't know if that's anything you've been able to follow up on yet, but maybe,
but
yeah,
we
okay.
wouldn't be till the spring anyway.
Right. Couldn't see anything right now, so.
That's like a double-edged sword, you're right. Because you bring them in, and then legally, are we obligated as a town to
Yes. Yes, you
pull that
are.
equipment out,
But if you
And
don't
there's
bring
a-
them in,
right? And someone gets hurt.
Someone gets
we're
hurt.
Just as bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, think of that. So you don't want to bring somebody in to check the safety of your equipment. That's never a good position to be in.
yeah.
Also, there was some conversation about trails connectivity, which this committee's talked about. Not only the connectivity within Durham, but possibly connecting with some surrounding towns to make Durham a destination, but just participate with other towns either through our train system, Dover and Exeter, or some other drive to each one.
Yep.
And from out of town, where do you go?
Yeah. Thank you, I forgot about that. All right. So I think overall it was a good meeting. I understand where our challenges, we understand their challenges, but I think they're trying to help us in whatever way they can help us. So I'm glad we had the meeting. I'm sure we're not the only committee that's in town that's feeling this way, so, and I appreciate, Joe, that you were able to join us too. All right, any questions or comments on that? Okay. So the next item then is the discussion of the 1 to 3 year strategic plan. And I'm pretty sure we had talked about this in our December meeting. Yes, I did read those minutes. So what we had said was that Rachel and I would come up with something to show you at this meeting. So I'm sorry, Rachel, I didn't print that off. Can you move that over
This one?
here? Yeah, just, okay, yeah. So I think what I sent you was just a quick sample of what I thought we could do and how we could maybe put it together. Don't look at the content or the actual words. It's just kind of, not yet, it's just kind of, for now, I just want us to talk whether we think this sort of format or moving forward might work. And then I
this
passed
is
out
something.
to you all tonight this other one that's, I dug down a little deeper on it. So I used as an example for the one I'm giving you tonight, the Parks and Trails Strategic Plan Year 1. And so basically, it kind of comes out to a glorified to-do list, right?
Yeah.
So I just took each of the things that were in the bullet points that I put in. I'm not saying that's what anyone would agree with or not, but put those in there and then started to kind of come up with what are all the different tasks that are involved in that, who's responsible for it, what's an estimated completion time, and what is maybe an estimated cost. DPR means the Parks and Rec Department. PRC is Parks and Rec Committee, so that's who those are. So again, just an example on each of these. So before and I don't know if we even talk about the actual items right now, but just in terms of a concept, do we feel like this might work? And maybe before you answer, I should say what I think I see happening after this is that each of our kind of subgroups get together and we knock off each of those 4 categories on the left side of the strategic plan and sort of come up with something like this for each of those. That's what I'm thinking about. Does that all make sense? Okay.
Yes.
What do people think?
It's a good road where we want to go,
Okay.
seems.
You
I think it'll force you to get something done.
Yeah. I think what was making it really overwhelming for me was even when I thought about the strengthening the parks and maintenance plan, I realized that you can have that on your list, but there's, as you can see, probably 10 more different steps that it
Yeah.
actually takes you to get there, right? So I felt like in my head, I needed to break down some of the steps anyway. And then hopefully, you know, between all of us, we can kind of start knocking some of them off.
I mean, when I just looked at this, quickly off the top, this seems really achievable.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When you look at it, it's like, okay, the maintenance plan is a little bit of like, you gotta go coordinate with everybody, but at
Yeah.
least it'll come through. But I like that it gets down to like coordinating with volunteers so that if you actually do get eyes,
Yeah.
you actually get it done. And I think, you know, you may not get all of the maintenance done, but at least you get it started in the first year.
Yeah.
And then the kayak and that, you can easily get that done. You
The
know, so
kayak rack?
I think maybe, what I like about your ideas, I think it's really helpful to get something done rather than to be picked with this like strategic plan that you know, how are we gonna get all these things?
Right.
This at least you'll get something completed and it'll give you a little bit more momentum.
It's good to have these time estimated completion. That would be worth trying to think about
Yeah.
what is achievable there too.
Yeah.
And even the more general thing I put together with year 1, year 2, year 3, again, I was
Yeah.
putting in just what I had taken from what people had contributed to the Google Docs, what we had talked about, but it doesn't mean that's what we have. Like, I think that's our next step is to actually look at the words and see if they match what we think is appropriate or what we could do. Seem okay?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Very good.
For the more general 3-year plan, for the 4 categories on the right, now we can talk about the words. Do people feel like those are the general categories we had? I thought they kind of were.
For
On
this,
on the left, you mean?
No, so on this one, the shaded area here,
Yeah,
yeah, on the
yes.
left,
Yeah.
yep. What are they? Parks and Trails, communication and engagement, financial, and the CIP budget. I'm pretty sure that's what our subgroups we had talked about, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't even remember.
yeah, no, I wouldn't
Yeah,
add
I
to
mean, I
that.
think this,
Okay. You think it's a workable way to? go
yes,
forward?
and
Okay.
then, so then you break it down.
Yeah. What I was thinking is, again, maybe if people have the time and can do it, if our subgroups or whomever, and I'm not saying we have to stay within our subgroups, I'll get to that in a minute, but to just take a look at each of those 4 areas then, probably look at year 1 goals, see if that's even what you think should be there. Should there be something else there? Should something move to year 2 or 3? Did we forget something totally, completely? And then start thinking about doing maybe a little bit more of a breakdown like what was handed out today. do people feel like they have the time and the energy and the whatever to do that? Okay. Okay. And I'm happy to be in on any of them and help whatever way I can. And then if we could maybe bring it back, and actually I can take everything from the subgroups, I could kind of be the center point before the next meeting, and there again, depending on what everybody had. Sound all right?
Yeah.
Okay. So how about everybody, before the next meeting, at least look at the general one that we have and see if there's any else that should be in any of the years or anything you feel should be taken out. I didn't put a lot in year 3. I sort of ran out of steam in year 3, so feel free to add things there. And, you'll notice I put the trail connectivity in year 3. Those of you more involved in the trails may say, no, Kathy, that can go to 1 or 2. I guess in my view, I just felt like that was a little bit of a larger kind of a thing that might take a little more time, a little more collaboration with others. But that's just, you guys are more in it than I am, so.
I almost think if we wanted to add a little more specificity, and I can give this some thought and then send it to you, but
Yeah.
like with trail connectivity, I think that's good to have it in 2028. Maybe that's like your, but I think each year, if it's listed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and along with trail maintenance, trail work you have in 27. But I think in 26 and 27, if you have trail work slash connectivity maybe, and then under that, based on the other committee, you bullet which ones we're working on each year, maybe, because you guys have sort of started to prioritize which ones you're gonna hit up. And then same thing under year 1, 2026, and then 2027, you have signage as well.
Yeah.
So maybe, my thought is that it says signage slash kiosks.
Okay.
And again, I think in 26, based on the kiosk meeting that I went to, that Veronique just had Monday, they have prioritized. They have 3 small kiosks that they're gonna put up this spring. And they're getting large, hoping to get 2 large kiosks made and put up. But then that committee also sort of prioritized all the other sites. So obviously that won't be this year, but then.
So when's the Jackson Landing year? Because I think for these purposes, I mean, our committee.
Jackson Landing is this year, they're hoping.
Okay, for a kiosk?
Yeah.
Okay.
So like for this year, small kiosk, update the one at the east end of Long Marsh. No, that one, they had talked about Doe Farm parking lot, but then that got moved to a large kiosk. So the 3rd small kiosk was the Kenny Rutner Bridge.
Okay, so it sounds like Jackson Landing might be another year, but you can.
And large kiosks, they're looking at the Doe Farm Park, update the Thompson one, update the west end of Long Marsh. Jackson's Landing and Wagon Hill might be next year.
Okay.
But they're working on them now so that it's,
Yeah.
like when they're gonna do maps and have the standardization of the signs and the layout.
Okay.
You could have, like, the do's and don'ts would be the same for every sign.
Yeah.
So you could have 2/3 of the signs, and then it's like, okay, I don't know, I'm just making this up. Come October, now let's get the maps done for these 3 and they'll
Okay.
be ready.
So what you're
in
saying is
next
even though
year.
they may be erected in 2027, they'll be worked on in 2026, so that's why it should be
I
there.
think
Yeah,
pieces
that
of it.
makes sense.
I
Yeah.
think in 2026, they have 3 small kiosks they want to put up, and they're hoping to also do 2 large ones. properties to be determined, I'll say.
Yeah, so for our purposes, our committee had decided that our trails and parks are really Jackson Landing and Woodridge Park. So all that other stuff is good to know, but we wouldn't necessarily put it on this
Okay.
list. Yeah, so,
You could put the kiosk on there, but we still
Yeah.
need to do all the trail work, yeah.
yeah, so I think that's a good point about the trail maintenance. I thought I had it here under strengthening the parks maintenance, so I agree, trail maintenance should be added in there.
And the kiosk too, we can just
Yeah,
keep coordinating with the land stewardship subcommittee to get a date on when that's
Right.
gonna happen and just
Yeah.
piggyback.
and I did have signage, but I can make it signage/kiosk. And then I said, work with question mark to follow the recommendations in the Jackson Landing accessibility study. So is that part of the land stewardship subcommittee too? Or I could just put in for the kiosk, we don't need to worry about, but I thought the Jackson Landing accessibility study was good and
Yeah.
short,
Yeah.
eatable, and helpful. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that maybe as smaller groups, you know, we can all talk about, and then, yeah, send all that stuff to me and I can redo this for January. I mean, February, for the February meeting. Is there anything else right now, though, that you want to talk about in general about either the more general one or the, again, this was just an example, what I thought we could do, so. I just want to get something out there to show.
I think it's great.
That's
Thanks
good.
for your work
Okay.
on this.
Okay, yeah. All right, so do you want me to facilitate some, I don't know, people want to meet in person, you want to meet Zoom, you want to meet Teams, whatever? Do you want me to facilitate some of that? I can just contact you each individually to see kind of what you're willing to do, what your time allows you to do. Is that?
Sounds good.
Okay. And remember, I'm not pressuring, pushing anybody. I know we're all busy, so whatever you can do is great. Okay. Then I can even do like a quick example like this for all four of the columns, the categories. I feel like I have a little better knowledge on some than others, so I'll probably be able to do more for some than others, but. All right, we want to do that? Okay, so my to-do will be to kind of just get in touch with y'all, see what you might want to work on, what you have time for. And I think on the example one, even where we have, PRC, Parks and Rec Committee, that only can be that Parks and Trails group. If other people are really interested in that and want to be a part of that too, that's perfectly fine. We'll kind of, I'll maybe try to let everybody know, okay, this subgroup is planning to meet on this day, and anybody can join. We don't have to stay really in our groups, so. Okay, well, thank you all very much for that. The next item is our committee goals, and I always forget to bring the committee goals sheet, but we talked about it in November or December, and I think we kind of thought that our strategic plans, I'll bring those for the next meeting, promise, send them to you even before. But I think, if I remember correctly, it was a lot of the communication here. It was definitely trail work that we have here. And then there was also supporting Rachel for the CIP and the budget, which we have here, supporting Bill Page, the rink manager, and the rink project. So I feel like our goals are pretty aligned with what we're thinking about for the plan. Maybe our number one goal for 2026 is going to be to develop the 1 to 3 year strategic plan. So I'll bring that for the next
I
meeting.
think
We can
that's,
knock
I
a few
have
things
them
off.
here if you.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Well,
Did
these
I
are
say
20.
most of them?
These are 2024, maybe.
Well,
I'll
they
throw-
probably didn't change.
Yeah, I mean, create the data impact reports, which,
Chris is working on that.
yeah, those are near completion now.
Yep.
So, the other thing, collaborate with Energy Committee to promote active transportation.
Oh, we took that one off,
Impact.
2025, yeah.
Yep, I think.
The rest of it was there. Okay. All right. Any other comments on goals or? I think strategic planning is fun. So I think it will be fun. Okay? Okay, everyone? It's fun.
And you will like it by the
It's
end of
fun.
this.
And you will like
And
it.
you will
have
like
fun
it. And
planning.
you're fun.
And you will not complain.
Okay. All right, is there anything else? All right, our next meeting is Tuesday, February 24. We have our homework. Do I have a motion to adjourn?